Okay, y'all. I'm gonna give y'all some time to get on here, okay? Because I wanted to. What I had done, I went on under the members only. Because remember, we're creating a membership, right? So under the members only, only the members can see the live stream. All right, that was my first time doing the live stream, so I wasn't really sure how that worked and how it went. So it was a little confusing, but I think I got it. All right, so when it's a members only live stream, let me make sure this one is public. When it's a members only live stream, only the members can see it, y'all. So that's how that works. So hold on, let me see what's on here now. All right. So that's okay. Hey, Miss Greek, I was just saying, I was trying to figure out how the members only live stream worked. So I see how it works. Like when it's live, only the members can see it. So that was what was going on with that. So what I'm going to do now, I'm trying to make this one so it's public. So everybody can see that one. So that's what I'm trying to do now. All right. So just bear with me a minute. Okay, here it is. Okay, so we're going to make this one public. All right. And now we're going to talk about what we came to talk about. But I wanted to try it so you guys can get an idea what it's like when we do our members only. And I like it because like we could talk about stuff that nobody can hear what we're saying. Because on the live stream, you can't even see it unless you're a member. All right. So that was just the members only. And I was just testing it just to see how it went. All right. So I'm gonna make this one completely live. I mean completely public. All right, y'all. Okay, everybody's coming in now. So that's what we were doing. I wanted to, well, I have homework. I told you I have homework with y'all see the cat in the corner, honey. Uh y'all know I have homework with YouTube school, YouTube boot camps membership school I go to. So I have homework I have to do. And one of our assignments is we had to post a video, live stream, or a short for our members only. And I did a live, and now I know how it works. And it's really a neat feature because when we want to talk about something completely private and we don't want anybody else to hear us, we can do that members only live, and nobody can get on there unless they're a member. And that I like that feature a lot. So what I'm doing now, I'm making this one public. I see y'all coming in. All right. So what we're going to talk about tonight, okay, we've got a lot to talk about again. I didn't really think this birthright. I thought this birthright citizenship was going to be real quick, real quick, fast, in a hurry. Mm-mm. This turned out to be something really, really, really deep. Like, um, I just didn't know it was going to go in the direction that it went. What you saying? Is this for black? What you say? Hold on. What she say? She said, Kiki, I was looking to hear live, but you put on membership. I know. I was just testing it. That's all for black. I was testing it. I had to do that. Okay. No, I had to, for real. Because I told you they give me assignments. And that was one of the assignments we had to do this week. Okay. So that's why I had to do that. But y'all know I didn't leave it on there for long. I left it on there as like an introduction so y'all can see how it works and see when we have lives where it's members only, you can see that, this would be things that if we want to talk about personal things or things we don't want other people to talk about, to hear us, then we can do that. So that was really just so you can see what it was like. Okay. And again, that's my assignment. I had to do that because they give us things to do. All right. Now let me make sure this video is up and y'all can all see it and there's no restrictions on it. Let me go back out because I want to make sure everybody can see it. Make it, yep, it says it's public. All right. Okay, y'all. This one is up and running. So I am Kiki Loves Nigeria, and I am the host of this show. And like I always say, this is our show where we come together and we talk about things that impact us as a community. And I just happen to be the person who talks, the person you see. So that's who I am. Now, we talk about on this channel, we talk about anything and everything that impacts your repatriation journey. You repatting, you visiting, you expatting, namely to West Africa, because again, that's my specialty. And we also talk, but we talk about East Africa also. We talk about pretty much all of Africa, okay? If it impacts us, we're going to talk about it. So that's what we do over here on this channel. And again, we talk about facts. We don't spread rumors. We don't spread gossip. If it's a gossip, if we, sometimes it's gossipy. If it is gossip, I'll tell you, I'll be like, okay, this is gossip. I don't have facts. But if I say it 9 times out of 10, you better believe I have 2 or 3 receipts to back up what I'm saying. I don't just say things just to say them. Okay. So this is a fact-based channel. We do fact-based reactions. We react to the facts that we see. Okay, so we're just reacting to the facts that we see. We're not making things up. We're not pulling things out the sky. We're reacting to actual and factual information that we see. All right, so what we're talking about tonight, we are talking about something really interesting. One of our community members, her name is Ola. I think that's her name, Ola. But she goes by, it says Olu or Ola. Okay. So, what we are talking about, she wrote and she said she wanted to know about birthright citizenship. And I thought that was interesting because I'm like, really? I'm wondering why she wanted to know about that. So, she asked me would I do a video about it. I said, well, since I had to do a homework assignment, I said even better, I will do a live stream about it. So that this is where we get the topic tonight. And not only while I was researching birthright citizenship, I ran across some information about fake marriages. So fake marriages, don't get fake marriages confused with romance scams. That's different. Okay. And that's why I said, oh, let me tell them about these fake marriages so they'll know the difference. Okay. Because it looks like this administration, and y'all know I don't normally talk about politics, I don't normally talk about government, but I feel like the immigration laws are very important and we need to understand them. I'm not an attorney. I do have a background in local government, but that does not mean I can tell you about, what to advise you legally. No, I cannot do that. But, I can pretty much understand what public policy is because of my background. So that's what we do. We talk about, different things. Immigration is a big public policy issue, and somehow Black Americans have been drugged into this fight about birthright citizenship. And like I said, when I started, talking about this subject, well, researching it for Alu, I had no idea it was like turning into this big, monster. So we're going to talk about that. I'm going to present you with what people are saying about it. And then we're going to talk a little bit about fake marriages, just so you'll know about fake marriages, because since I, announced to people about my legal marriage in Gambia, people have just, I appreciate people, they have a lot to say and, you're welcome to say what you want to say, but um, um, I mean, that would be if I go against my own advice. That doesn't even make sense. What kind of person am I? You know what I mean? It doesn't make sense for me to advise you not to do something and then I turn right around and do it. So you got to think, people, like before you say stuff in the comment section, It just think about it first, okay? Say to yourself now, would this lady do that? Does this lady sound like she would do something like that? And if the answer is no, then you're probably right. It's probably no, so you shouldn't say it. You shouldn't ask that, okay? But again, you're more than welcome to ask whatever you want to. But I see a lot of people have a lot of stereotypes, and stereotypes, people are driven by their stereotypes. So that's why we do these shows, because we want people to understand the facts and not the stereotypes. Okay. So, again, I'm Kiki Lost Nigeria. I'm the host of the show. And tonight we're talking about immigration. This is something else new that I added to the show, that immigration, because again, it's going to impact us. Those who travel to Africa, those who visit, those who expat. This immigration is going to impact you one way or the other. Okay? One way or the other, it's going to impact you. Okay? So, like for instance, when I came back from Gambia, I saw something in the lines that I didn't normally see. Normally, I would see U.S. citizens and what is that? Green card holders. They usually put us together. Permanent residents. They usually put us together. No, this time it said U.S. citizens in big bold letters. Okay, green card holders went to another line. Okay, so that was the first time I ever seen separated like that. And something that was shocking to me, it was shocking to me, is when I was in that line with U.S. citizens, honey, it was only two people in that line that spoke North American English like me. Everybody else spoke a whole different language. Everybody else was from a whole different country. And I'm looking around like, well, where are the U.S. citizens at? All these people is from different countries and they all got blue passports like me? What? And then it was one other lady all around us. It was all people from different countries who were now U.S. citizens. That was mind blowing, because remember, I've been going to Africa for a long time. I've been coming back and forth for a long time. I've never seen that. U.S. citizen line be short. It be short when you get from Africa. It don't be nobody but maybe for 2 or 3 people. You just walk up, walk through. No, not this time. It was a lot. And it was people, like I told you. They didn't, there was no U.S. citizen accent, North American accent. Okay. North American accent. Let me say it like that. Everybody else spoke a different language. And I was just surprised. So that's when I'm like, what's going on? There's got to be something going on. No wonder, people are up in a tizzy. No wonder. Because, like I always say, when I go to Gambia, when I go to Nigeria, when I go to Cameroon, when you look in those lines, you don't see other people outnumbering the people who were born there. Okay? You don't, who are not just born there, because that's what this argument is about. Okay? I'm talking about people who've been here for generations and generations and generations. Those people, you're not seeing those people, at least I didn't, in that line anymore. You used to, but not anymore. You seeing a whole different America that you don't even, American that you don't even know, and that you can't even communicate with. They probably can speak North American English, but they have a whole different country. And to be honest, I was completely shocked. I was completely shocked. I really was, because like I said, I've been going for a long time, and that was the first time I've ever seen that, and so for the first time I've ever saw that. So, hence these battles over these immigration laws. All right, so that's what we're talking about tonight. Because everywhere you look, I don't care where you are in the United States, you see it. All right, you see it, and you hear about it. So this is something that we cannot be ignorant to. This is something we need to know what's going on. All right, so let me get your comments so we can start. Hello, Miss Greek. Hello, Miss. Is that Susan? Hey, Miss Susan. Oh, let me put these glasses on. Y'all know I can't see nothing. Hold on. Okay, Miss Greek. Thank you if you do. Um, oh, okay, that was for Black. Yeah, I explained to her why I had to do that. I have homework I have to do for them. Um, yes, all is well. Hello, London lady. Hello, T and K. Hello, November rain. Um, yeah, that's what I said, honey. I said why? Because, honey, you know I'm used to running through the line. When I get from Africa, I'll be woo. When I get out of Belgium and get to the United States, I'll be so happy. And I'm used to running through the line, especially the U.S. citizen line, because it's nobody there. It's usually nobody. It's very few people. No, I don't know what's. I didn't. I was confused. I really was, and it was four immigration officers, and they was cut. And we got advanced immigration stuff. uh, we came up, you come up, they scan your face, they tell you to go through. I mean, it was so many people. It was so many people. And I'm like, what in the world is going on? There's something going on. And we just, at least I'm oblivious. I'm living my own life, going through my day to day, not realizing this country is something is going on. Very serious. Very serious. um, they gamed the system, and this is why Trump is correcting that. Because something I had never seen that, and yeah, like I said, I've traveled out of this country so many times, and coming back, it's a breeze. It's just straight through. Mm-mm. And it's so many people that, like I said, they don't have the North American language. No, the accent. They don't. And that's what this birthright is talking about. That's what the 14th Amendment is talking about, people. That's what this battle is about. And this has been a battle for a long time. I didn't even know they've been arguing about this for a long time. A long time they've been arguing because it's about the 14th Amendment, and it's called the spirit of the law, even the letter of the law. The letter of the law is clear. The spirit of the law is what did they mean? So the letter of the law is what's in writing. This is what the law goes by, okay? The spirit of the law is what did they mean? Because sometimes you can say things and it people will take it one way, right? Because well, you can write something, okay? And well, don't run down the hall. Let's say that, okay? But if it's an emergency, then you got to run down the hall. You see what I mean? So the spirit of the law is don't run down the hall, but if it's an emergency, you can run down the hall when necessary. You see, so what did they mean? Okay, that's the spirit of the law. But the 14th Amendment, which I'm going to show it to you, um, I think it's clear. It's pretty clear, and it's how people are interpreting the 14th Amendment. I think that's where the issues come into play, and people are battling about this, y'all. They are battling serious and hard about this. Hey, lady, how you doing? How are you today? So, oh, and thank you for being a member. Okay, um, which airport? Chicago. I always land in Chicago when I come back from Gambia. I normally, when I would come back from Nigeria, I land in Atlanta. I never seen this before, TNK. My mind was blown. Do you hear me? I was a minority. Do you hear me? A minority in a citizenship line. And I'm like, what is going on here? What is going on here? And then we couldn't even, I told y'all one time I couldn't talk to nobody except the other North American lady. And me and her, it was like that's what we had. We had our language. So we could talk to each other and let each other know what was going on. But something, you have to be careful. You have to be careful. You just have to be careful. For Black, he also expressed interest in deporting U.S. citizens. Don't be naive. Also, Biden and Obama deported they sure did just as many. The difference is that they are giving due process. Yes, yes, because like I'm telling you, this issue has been an issue probably since they came up with it. Because politicians did not like it. They did not like the way it was put together, but they had to do something because our rights were being denied constantly. That people kept saying they're not citizens, so they had to do something. Uh, Truth serum, that's for criminals helping to rid the hostage takers. Okay, okay, they talking. Okay, so we're gonna go through these comments and then we're gonna look at what we're talking about. I recently returned from Central America, and the line from the U.S. citizens didn't appear to have more. Really? What airport did you go through? And Central America, maybe that's different. Maybe they, I don't know. Maybe the rules is different, but the rules is different from different countries. But honey, 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 my mind was blown because I travel to other countries, and other countries I don't see that. I don't see foreigners outnumbering their own people with their passport. I don't see that. When I go to the Gambia, honey, bye. Honey, bye. I don't see that at all. When I go to Nigeria, I don't see that at all. Cameroon, no, no. And like I said, that was the first time I had experienced that. That was the first time, and I was confused. Let me say that. I was totally confused. I wish you had an audio StreamYard. East Indians and Pakistanis in my cities mastered chain migration and birthright citizenship must end. Well, it looks like the Trump administration wants it to end. Okay, and it's now Truth Serum. Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, but it seemed like the federal judge, the Supreme Court, said he could go ahead with his executive order, but a federal judge put in an injunction and stopped it and said no, he couldn't. Okay, so that's where we are now. Okay, so, but what they're saying is that this amendment has been interpreted wrong for years, and they're really scared of the repercussions of all of this because if it is determined that this amendment has been interpreted wrong for years, do you know how many people don't have citizenship? You know how many people will be affected by that? And all Donald Trump has to do is sign his name and say, "Oh, y'all gotta go." Do you know it's that simple? That an executive order means you do whatever I say, and that's it, and that's all. So that's why this is really serious because he can sign. He can sign. I think that's what he did. But how many generations do you go back? Do you say forever? Do you say 3 generations? Do you say 4 generations? Do you go back to the time to where the law was applied correctly? That generation? Because there's 2 factors you have to meet 2 factors for that amendment to apply. And again, people are saying that this amendment was just for Black Americans. It was not for any other people. Okay? So politicians are really arguing about this. Um, Nigeria had the same citizenship line issue prior to 2020 when Trump temporarily blocked Nigerians. Oh, so they was coming over here like that too, taking up the line. They was over there hogging up the line too, huh? And two, that's why. Oh, that's why he said. Because I remember that when he said no more, they couldn't come. Mm-mm. He sure did. He made them get their paperwork together. He said their paperwork wasn't right. They were still coming over here, staying and not leaving. They had to do a lot of stuff to get that back. But yeah, this doesn't make sense. I'm confused. I'm really just confused right now. That's what I am. After that, seeing that and experiencing that, I was just totally confused. Okay, they're saying that some of they don't have criminal records. Okay, so the first thing we're going to look at what people in the same citizens line speak English. Some of them didn't. A lot of them didn't speak. When they were speaking to each other, they probably could speak English, but they weren't speaking English. They were speaking because they don't, they with their people. So they speaking whatever. And it wasn't just one, it would be families. It wasn't just like one person. It's like groups of families, friends, families, groups of people. So they speak in their language. They're not speaking North American English. That's how I know. And then I'm looking around and I'm looking like these are not American. You know Americans. I'm sorry. Yeah, they could spot an American anywhere. People will tell you we can spot Americans. All right, you can spot Americans. And one thing I noticed about Americans, Americans are friendly. They're very friendly. Just from my travels, Americans are extremely friendly. Americans will talk to anybody. Americans will try and help anybody. So that lie that Americans are this, no, no, no. The Americans, the first ones to jump up and try to help. So that's what I've noticed. That's been my experience with them. Oh, y'all, it's going to storm. They said it was going to, but it's so hot. All right, so that's like in even when you going through the airport and you going through all the trials and tribulations, it's the Americans I notice who, well, maybe because they hear my accent and they feel like, oh, this is another American person. I don't know, but they seem to be the most helpful. The Europeans don't be trying to help me at all. Okay, so yeah, I didn't notice that when I didn't hear English. I seen the one, and she was a white American. She was speaking North American English, because we had talked passing, in the hallway. We was getting something confused together. We were both confused about something. So, yeah, that was it. That was it. In the vicinity that we were in, he is going to take away Rosie. Oh, are y'all serious? Yeah, he's still messing. Please don't tell me him and Rosie O'Donnell are still arguing with each other. Y'all know how many years that's been. He sure did. Obama deported a lot of people. And you know what else Obama did that y'all don't realize that he did? He stopped a lot of funding that went to historically black universities. Yes, he cut a lot of funding, and he also cut a lot of funding to cities. So y'all need to pay attention to that. Before you sit up and just defend somebody as the greatest person who ever lived, you need to go and research, okay, and see what public policies, what did they actually do? Because what I say and what I do can be two different things. All right. So yes, that's what he did, and people don't even know that. Um, Trump is a smokescreen unless his numbers match or exceed Obama's. Yeah, but they did. He did. He deported a lot of people. Okay. For Black says, where are those stories? Only criminals are being threatened, not Americans, not lawful Americans. Okay, so she's saying, well, the birthright That's going to affect regular people. Yeah, the birthright, if they pass the birthright, that's what I'm saying. Think about that. That's why the birthright is very serious, because if the birthright is passed, goes into law, how many generations is he going to go back? Is he going to say, how is he going to determine that? How is he going? Is he just going to do a sweeping all across the board and everybody get out? Is he going to just say this only applies to Black Americans? Everybody get out? Because he can do that. So how is this law going to be interpreted? It looks like Donald will get away eventually. I feel like eventually he's gonna get it, because it's not just him, y'all. It's a lot of people pushing for this. It's a lot, and they've been pushing for this for since they even started this. Okay, this is nothing new. We just probably knowing about it, but no, this has been going on for quite some time. He won't get away with it. Well, I think he is. Because it's not just him. He's not the only one who wants this. That's what y'all have to understand. Trump gonna appeal that. He is. He is. Because I don't know. Well, I think he can, but let's see how it goes. But yeah, I'm pretty. I feel like he's gonna do what he can do what he wants to do with that executive power, that executive line power that he has, where he can just write a law into law like he did that day when he had his little pen out. Um, I've been, I've seen it coming back from Jamaica when more residents as opposed to citizens were in line. I couldn't believe it. I think it depends on your flight and the timing. Yeah, well, that's the same flight I've been taking in the time since I've been going for 4 years, for almost 5 years. And this was the first time, and it was unbelievable. The road to look outside, y'all. Look behind me. The road to citizenship must be extremely hard. It is now. Well, I don't. It must have been easy because it was a whole bunch of them. But now I think it's extremely hard. Now I don't think they're. I think they're not playing. I think the system is I think this administration, you know how administrations are known, they want to be known for something, like Hillary, somebody, who was that, who wanted to do the medicine? Social, was it Obama now, who wanted to be known for social medicine, to change our medicine system so we could have some social medicine, so that's when everybody got health insurance. Well, each administration wants to be known, like, for something. Like, what was they known for? Okay, it's clear the Trump administration, in my humble opinion, wants to be known for, or they're going to be known for, immigration, immigration reform. Immigration needs to be reformed. Immigration has not been reformed. I don't know how long. You can't just leave a policy lay and don't touch it. You can't, because the policy will be outdated and it won't serve its purposes anymore. And that's what's going on. So I believe, just from my personal professional opinion, that Donald Trump is going to be the immigration reform president, and his administration is going to be known for that. That's just what I feel. He's going to be known for that. Yes, because this is very, very serious. And y'all don't understand. They can just he can sign and say, everybody got to go. And what can they do? How long? The federal judge may slow him down. But do I think the federal judge is going to stop the president of the United States? No. No, I do not. No, I do not. No. No, I do not. My father was naturalized, but passed. Oh, I'm sorry, TK. Yeah, I'm so sorry. And do y'all know now? I was looking at something, and do you know, after it used to be 10 years, you had to be in the United States for 10 years consecutively and did all this other stuff to apply for naturalization, US citizen naturalization. Do y'all know now it's only 5 years? Think about that. I can't even go to the Gambia and apply and have been there for 5 years. 5 years. You can apply to be a naturalized citizen of the United States. Now, if I read it wrong, somebody please correct me because I'm human and that's always possible. I told y'all I'm not AI, I'm human. So if I make a mistake, please just say, hey, Kiki, you made a mistake. Hey, African Repat Queen, how you been? Oh, she said go back 3 generations. That way Trump will have to deport himself and take his own, you silly, take his own citizenship. He's only 1 generation. Girl, where you been? We missed you. But yeah, we don't know. He can go back all generations. He can say this because they're arguing that this only applies, the 14th Amendment only applies to Black Americans. Because that's what I was taught. That was so we could be citizens because it was people saying no, we could not be citizens, we could not own land, we could not vote, we could not do nothing. So I think it was a series of amendments, 14, 15, 13, 14, and 15, something like that. It was those amendments, I believe, that said that's why those amendments were put in there because people were still trying not to give us our rights. All right, now let me put this on. This is fair use. All right, I'm not going to bring up the fair use disclaimer because, hey, y'all, I don't have time to look for it. I don't feel like looking for it. So look, this is fair use, all right? On Kiki Loves Nigeria, sometimes we have to use other people's material, okay, to help explain. So these videos will help give you a clear understanding of what the 14th Amendment is, what the Birthright Act is, Birthright Citizenship is. It will also help you understand fake marriages because that is the goal of our channel, to help people understand. And in fair use, they say we can use other people's copyrighted work as long as we're using it for educational, research, commentary, and what was the other one? Uh, what we're doing, just learning. I know I said educational. We're going to say it again, for educational purposes. And that's what we're using it for, educational purposes, so we can understand the laws and how they impact us. This law has a lot to do, this amendment has a lot to do with us. It looks like the Wi-Fi signal is getting bad. Let me know if it go bad, y'all. But and we need to know that. We need to know. All right. So we need to be fully aware of what is impacting us. So again, this is fair use. Now, also, please don't be offended by the views on this channel, the views and opinions, because we all got different views. We all got different opinions. All right. So that doesn't mean I agree with it. It just means that it's their view and it's their opinion. All right. So now everybody's entitled to that. Now, here we go. All right. Let me put this on for y'all to see. Because some people don't even know about the 14th Amendment. They don't even know what it is or nothing. So let's just educate ourselves. So hold on. I know you can't see it. Um, Again, this is fair use, and this is for educational purposes only. Are y'all ready? Here we go.
The 14th Amendment to the Constitution grants citizenship to anyone born on United States soil, even if their parents are here illegally. President Trump says that's not true. And he's right. Here's why. Universal birthright citizenship is actually a misinterpretation of the 14th Amendment. It was ratified in 1868, shortly after the Civil War, to specifically extend citizenship to freed slaves and their children. But the 14th Amendment does not say that all people born in the United States are citizens. It says that all persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens.
So that's two things. All right. Remember that. You got to meet those two qualifications. All right. They put that in there for a reason. Because remember, during slavery times, there were people coming here from France. There were people coming here, and the big thing was the Chinese people. For some reason, they did not want to give the Chinese people citizenship. They did not like them for some reason at all. I don't even know why they couldn't stand those people like that. But they fought tooth and nail, and they did not want this to apply to Chinese people. They did not. I'm going to show you. I got proof. Hold on. Let's go.
Born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens. That second critical conditional phrase, subject to the jurisdiction thereof, is conveniently ignored or misinterpreted by advocates of birthright citizenship. It was written.
And I noticed after I watched this video, and I noticed when I start listening to other people's arguments, they would always leave that part out. The jurisdiction part. Who has jurisdiction over you? Who has jurisdiction over that child's parent? That's the question. The Black American was naturally born here. The Black American jurisdiction was, who was the jurisdiction over them? The American people, whoever that was. So that's who they answer to, the American government. You see what I mean? So they're saying, so if a person comes here on vacation, like Two-Face Adibia's wives and all them Nigerian people who come here on vacation and have a baby just to have their babies, so their babies can be U.S. citizens, that's unbelievable. So they're saying that should not be. Because who was the Nigerian child? Who are they subjected to? Who laws are they subjected to? Not ours, their country that they're going back to. Who are the parents' laws subjected to? Not ours. Who do their loyalty belong to? Not us. These are the questions. These are the rules. These are the rules. And like he said, if you listen to the arguments, a lot of people will leave that part out. And they'll tell you about the Chinese man who they use as an example, but they won't tell you the part about that both of his parents were Chinese. They were not U.S. citizens. And both of his parents answered to the Chinese, whoever he was, Chinese emperor, sovereign Chinese emperor, something. So therefore, that wouldn't apply to him.
To help distinguish between people like the children of former slaves, who were unfairly denied citizenship, and the children of diplomats or other people who were in the country but owed their citizenship to other countries. Many claim that anyone present in the United States has subjected him or herself to the jurisdiction of the United States. But Senator Lyman Trumbull, a key figure in the adoption of the 14th Amendment, said that subject to the jurisdiction meant not owing allegiance to any other country. He's referring to the difference between partial territorial jurisdiction, which subjects all foreigners who enter the United States to the jurisdiction of our laws, and complete political jurisdiction, which requires allegiance to the United States government as well. So while a foreign tourist could be prosecuted for violating a criminal statute, he or she could not be drafted if we had a military draft.
Yes.
Or be subjected to other requirements imposed on citizens.
So you see the difference. So they're saying if they can't be drafted, if they can't have to register, we don't have to register to vote, but say we had to register. Whatever, it's like there's certain things that we have to do as U.S. citizens that we just got to go by because we're U.S. citizens. Okay. So they're saying that these people don't have to do that because they don't owe their allegiance to us. So you get that? That's the stipulation.
Such as serving on a jury. Other legal arguments for universal birthright citizenship point to the Supreme Court's 1898 decision in U.S. versus Wong Kim Ark. But that decision...
This is the one I'm telling you about. This is what people are going to always say to you. They're going to say, no, Wong Kim Ark, They rule, blah, 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 blah. But they don't ask them about the status of his parents. Okay. Because remember, the Black American, they were enslaved in America. Those parents were here. Those grandparents were here. Those great grandparents were here. That's the big difference. They didn't just come over. No, this was after we had been here for years. I think the first one of us came here was it the 1600s or the 1700s. We had been here for years before they did that.
Decision only stands for the very narrow proposition that children born of lawful permanent residents are U.S. citizens. This decision says nothing about the children of illegal immigrants or the children of tourists, students, and other foreigners only temporarily present in this country being automatically considered U.S. citizens. Those children are considered citizens of the native countries of their parents. Just like children born abroad to American parents are considered U.S. citizens, no matter where the children are born. Most countries around the world do not provide birthright citizenship. We do so based not on the requirements of federal law or the Constitution, but based on an incorrect interpretation. And that should be changed.
All right, now that came from the Heritage Foundation. All right. So let me see what y'all have to say about what the Heritage Foundation had to say. So they feel like the law has been misinterpreted for years, and it don't even apply to these people. So let's see what they're saying now. Peace, Black Americans were here before America was. It sure was. And all of our ancestors, no, they weren't. No, yeah, that's correct. We agree with that. We know that. How are you going to give someone something and then take it away? They gave it to them wrongly. It wasn't supposed to be given to them in the first place. That's like if your bank account deposits thousands, $100,000 in your deposit in your account, and they did it in the wrong way. They did it. It was a mistake. They're going to come back and take it. So that's what they're going to do. They feel like the Heritage Foundation feels like this law has been interpreted wrong. And when they break it down, you could clearly see, oh yeah, it has been, because tourists come here. I forget what it's called, citizenship something. Like they come here, African tourists come here to have babies so their kids can come back here. So they can be citizens. I'm sure they're not the only ones who do it. But they're the only ones I know of because, I watch Nollywood. I'm a big Nollywood fan. So, I'm a big Nigeria fan. So I follow what they do. And I couldn't, when they were doing this, I couldn't believe we were just cool with that. Like, how do you just be cool with that? Like somebody just playing you for your money, playing you for your benefits. How do you be cool with that? Lots of people do. Yes, that's what I'm saying, Joy. So just think, if lots of people are doing that, what is it doing to our systems, our social systems? What a burden. What do you think it's doing? If lots of people are doing that, what is going to happen to this country? We got to think, people. Lots of people are doing that. Yes, they are. I could tell when I came back from Gambia that lots of people are doing that. Yeah, it was clear. Lots of people are doing that. Retroactive is fine when you are attempting to correct and make it right. Central Americans mastered the anchors before migrant supportive policies came in. And that's like the only way he's going to be able. They're going to do some kind of retroactivity. I'm telling you. If Donald gets this passed, if Donald gets this through, and like I said, they've been fighting for this for a long time. I'm about to show y'all another video where they've been fighting this. Mr. Turnbull, Representative Senator Turnbull, I think that's his name. That this man been fighting this for a long time, because they didn't want to give it to us. Now, all these other people taking advantage of it, oh, they're not pleased with that. They are not pleased with that at all. This is a big old fight. JC Joy says whites will become the minorities that us what they are. Oh, she says the white people are going to become the minority, and that's what they're trying to prevent. Well, I don't think it's working. I don't think it's working because mm-mm. Have you been to your local Walmart? Have you been there? Have you been shopping at your local Walmart lately? You tell me, do you think it's working? You tell me, do you think it's working? Uh, Mr. Music says Europe is facing a problem, losing their whole culture and country because of the immigration policies. They are being overrun and the laws are being passed against their countries. Wow. So this is a big problem. This is a huge problem. It looks like it's a problem all over the world. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Nationalism is going to happen. These countries are going to buckle down. They're going to buckle down. And it's going to be all about them and their people. You watch what I tell you. Because the people, once the people have had enough, and it sounds to me, now this is just my professional opinion from what I've studied, and what I've experienced. Remember, I studied history, I studied government, I have a master's in public administration, I know public policy. This is about survival at this point. And did you see what happened in Mexico? I couldn't believe they were tearing up Mexico City like that because they're tired. They're tired. Even in this little town in Spain, the people can't even live there anymore because the tourists have the digital nomads have bought up all the housing. All the people who buy housing now, they rent it to the foreigners, and the locals don't even have any place to stay. This isn't just a problem in America, people. This is a world problem. This is a world problem. This is a serious issue facing the world. If you don't believe me, look up Mexico, look up Spain, look up Portugal, look up poor France. And I keep forgetting France is in Europe, but I love Paris. Look what's going on there. This is not something that these people are playing about. Immigration is going to be changed drastically all over the world. It has to. You can't just let something go on like that. Okay, baby, wait a minute. Hold on, y'all. You can't do that. You can somehow this has gotten out of hand. And you just can't. You just cannot. Only God can help us now. This world is a mess. And everybody's so angry, and everybody has no patience for nobody. Everybody's tired of everybody. Everybody wants you to go home. Nobody wants you there no more. They want the Americans to go. They want the Europeans to go. They want you go. They want their countries back. These poor people in Spain, y'all, and she had a good little job. She was a parking attendant. And she wrote tickets, and she worked where the tourist people are. And the tourist people had bought up all the beautiful homes. And she said, this is where the locals used to live. But now the rich people have bought them up and they rent them to the tourist people. And now the locals have no place to live. You should see they're all living in a trailer. A trailer. Look at the number of elderly homeless people in the United States. You would never see that here. Never. The elderly had it so good here. They had all kind of programs for elderly. They had housing for elderly. Where's it all at now? Don't you know when you have issues like this, when you have issues like this, do you know that money has to be redirected? Money meant like we were talking about, money meant for elderly has to go someplace else. So who's going to get hurt now? Somebody's going to always get left out. These are the realities of what's going on in our world. Whether we're focused on going to Africa or not, we have to focus on what's going on around us because these things are going to impact us. Yeah, rent is sky high. And you know why? Because of the vouchers. This is just my opinion. Because of the Section 8 vouchers. Those people who came here, most of the people who come here, they get some kind of rental assistance program. Okay? So when you're on a rental assistance program, they can charge like the market rent. They call it market rent, and they'll charge the highest price. So, say a two-bedroom house, the government will pay $1,500 for a two-bedroom house. Well, guess how much they will charge for a two-bedroom house? $1,500. So that's why you see the rent out of the roof because so many people had Section 8 vouchers. And what did it do to the rest of us who didn't have nothing? We're stuck paying astronomical rent, astronomical house whatever that is, house payments. People bought houses, now they can't even afford the houses because all these people had all this money that wasn't real. They had all these vouchers. That money's not real. How did y'all think they was paying the rent? Have you ever went to Burlington Coal Factory and you see all them people in there with cartfuls of stuff? What y'all think they have money to pay for that? Y'all don't know they got vouchers. You know the vouchers they used to give with children's services, they used to give to the kids, or they gave to the families to help buy the kids clothes? Them vouchers. Yeah. So redirect the funds. Seriously. What do you think? You really think they have money to buy all that stuff in that cart? Honey, they have vouchers. Walmart and Burlington Coat Factory and Target is probably one of them too. That take them. They probably all the stores probably take them now. Hmm. That's what happened to the rent vouchers. That's what happened to the food SNAP program because they all had SNAP EBT benefits. Research it, y'all. You'll see a direct link to the increase of EBT benefits and food prices skyrocketing because they had fake money too. EBT ain't real, so they had EBT. That's why that's getting cut. I have watched the ICE agents throw what? You watched the ICE agents throw what? The ICE agents are extremely violent. It's terrifying watching them in broad daylight hurting people. Don't watch them. Don't watch them. I wouldn't even watch. If I seen somebody with ice on their shirt, I'm gonna turn my head because I don't want to see what they gonna do. And I don't want to be in their way because I know they got a job to do, and I'm not fooling with them. The problem is class and government, not each other. Exactly. Yes, it is. And I don't think we said it was each other. I don't think we said it was a people problem. This is a policy problem. This is a public policy problem. This public policy needs to be fixed because it's having an adverse effect on its people. So it's got to be fixed. And how you been, CW baby girl? I see you in a minute. But we can't don't we're not saying that. We're saying it's the policy. It's broken. It needs to be fixed. But they don't want us to focus on class issues because the people will get the real issue. Okay, so focus on class issues and what? How do you focus on class issues? So how you get somebody to the next class? That's the thing. How do you get somebody from the working class or the lower class to the next class? Because that's how you change class. Nobody's going to give you that. Nobody's going to give you no benefit to get you to another class unless they give you a benefit to go to school. Now that can uplift you to another class, but that is something you have to do. You have to improve yourself to get yourself in another economic class. The government can't do that for you. They can provide you with opportunities, but you're the one have to get this ready to walk through the door where you can uplift yourself to another class. Because people will say the real issue is class, but how do you fix class? I say you fix class through education, through social training, through skill training. Like when people get a trade, that's how you uplift the class. You got to do something. But people will say they present that argument, but they don't present a solution to that argument, or they don't present a way to do what they say we need to do. Uh, not bootstraps. Well, I didn't get that. Cotton Top says, you get yourself to another class. I worked in, yes, you do. And that's what you got to do because you have to work hard. Like when I was in school, and she's right. And I would spend so many hours, and it would be holidays, and people would be out celebrating, and I would be at this desk, or not this desk, but at a desk like this in my house, just working, working, because I knew that was the way I would uplift myself. I had to make myself able to make more money, and I knew I needed credentials behind my name to do that. So I had to do that for myself. Nobody else did that for me. I had to do that. You get okay. And she's Cotton Top is right. You do. You got to work. Nothing is easy. Nothing will just come. Nothing will come to you but a dream. That's it. Rents are rising in New York City because they wanted poor people out. Yet real New Yorkers have been fighting for affordable housing for decades. So they want the poor people out. Okay, but I'm sure some of those people coming in got vouchers. Okay, because you have to understand mixed housing is what the urban Department of Urban Development wants. They want mixed housing. They want poor people living near rich people. They feel like that's how the poor people will learn how to be rich people, or learn how to be middle class people. So they enjoy when they see mixed housing. So this myth that they want all the poor people out, maybe some people do, but the government does not want that. No, they don't want that. They want everybody living mixed communities. Okay. But what drives that is the prices. Now, see, the government can say this is what we want, but then we have a private owner come in, and the private owner will say, oh, I don't want that, but I'm going to charge $1,500 for a 1-bedroom apartment. See, the price will determine who can live there. So that's another game that they play. So no, I would disagree with that to say it's about we don't want the poor people there. We want the money. These type of people want money. Money is green. They don't care who got the money. Okay? So it's not that they don't want the who's moving there then? If they want the poor people out, the poor people must hang out vouchers. Because if they had vouchers, they wouldn't care. They wouldn't care. Because rich people, it's about money with them. See, that's what y'all don't get. Rich people aren't like poor people. Poor people sit up and look at each other's race. Rich people don't care about that. You know what they look at? Your pockets. Money. How much money do you have? Are you rich? Are you new money? Are you old money? I went to school with rich people. And rich people will sit and tell you all day, every day, yes, Black Americans have been discriminated against for a long time. And it's so wrong what has been done to them. And they need programs in place. They need things in place to make sure it doesn't happen to them again, because so many people discriminate against them. Rich people will tell you this. But when I go across town, this is when I was at the private Catholic university and I went to school with rich people. And rich people don't even think about race. They could care less about race. Only a poor man thinks about race. So this is rich people don't care about that. Because if you're rich, you're rich. If you're rich, you're rich, you're rich, you're rich. We don't care. They don't care. They don't care. Long as you got the money to play, that's all that matters. So either they want them out because they don't have the money to play and they have to lower the rent over there. But it's not because they're poor. I can tell you that. No. Rich people don't care about that. They want the money. They don't have the money. Why don't they have the money? Donald Trump expects Black Americans to do the illegal jobs. He's completely insane. Well, how's he going to make us do some jobs, though? How is he going to make me do a job? Now, how? What's he going? And he can't come here and say, "Well, I can only do these type of jobs." No, that's discrimination. So how is he going to make us do some type of job? Think about that. That doesn't make sense to me. How can he make us do anything? Now, in my little condo complex in Florida, immigrants are living in groups. That's how they do it. Yeah, see? You see? And that's safe to y'all? 10 in a 2-bedroom, 2-bath apartment. Okay? This is how it goes down. And then they'll go right home and tell their family that they're living lovely and they're living large and they live like that for real. And it will be grown men. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes. And if they're immigrants, I don't know how an immigrant is in that situation, because an immigrant, that means that person has a permanent residency card. You see what I mean? So that person, those are probably not immigrants, because immigrants can work. Immigrants can do pretty much they can do what we can do, except vote. They can only vote when they become naturalized citizens. So I don't even think these are immigrants. These are probably people who don't have papers, because an immigrant would not be living like that. They don't have to. This is people who don't have a choice. So these are people who probably came here on a tourist visa and overstayed. That's what they are. People who came here on school visas and overstayed. They were supposed to go back and they didn't go back, because no permanent resident, no immigrant is living like that. They don't have to. As far as the quality, but some of the older projects need help. Okay. What y'all talking about there? For Black says, all right, let's put this other video on about the Fourth Amendment. It's crazy how Biden purposely allowed illegals to walk in. But why? And people only mad at Trump. It's his hypocrisy. But why would he do that? That's what I don't understand. What was the purpose of this? What was the end game? What was the end game? Now I remember when I was at the university, they said something about something like this was going to happen because they needed a new workforce, that Black Americans were not working for whatever anymore. That Black Americans were demanding equal wages. Black Americans were no longer a cheap labor force. Okay. So they wanted the businessman wanted a cheaper labor force. This is what I heard back in the day. So I don't know if this is really the impetus behind all of this, the cheaper labor force. But whoever thought, they didn't think it out correctly. You clearly did not. You clearly did not think this out. For Black says, I think George Soros paid for it to for real. Girl, don't say that, because this. Ooh, Jesus. Biden and the Democrats are seeking a political party support and wage suppressed labor. Oh, okay. Well, I don't know who's working for that. I'm pretty sure they don't have papers. Yeah, but see, I could tell. Yeah, you could tell who got papers and who don't. Those people don't have papers, and they probably scared ICE gonna come in there any day now. Because when you overstay, that's illegal. So you're illegal. You know what I mean? That's a crime. You're committing a crime because you overstayed. So they probably are scared. ICE is gonna come in there and. But I don't know why you would be living like that instead of just going back home. That just don't even make sense to me. All right, so we're gonna look at hold on, let's read this one. Many people in New York City are not native New Yorkers. One thing I can say, Section 8 public assistance, we live better than those in the other states with assistance. So yes, a lot of people, because you could take Section 8 all over the United States. So people just move on that. They move to different states. I want to move to New York. Oh, I'm on public assistance. I can move to New York. I can get on public assistance over there. Just transfer my benefits, transfer my food stamps. And I think the food stamps, you can use them over there. Because I think it is. It's a federal program. So your food stamps work, your housing program works, everything works. Most companies in Florida use employment agencies that are corrupt. But see, everything is supposed to be done now with electronically. In Ohio, it is. So you're not getting that off here no more. And you got to have you get scanned and everything. You can't even get a driver's license now without the proper ID. Kiki, my bootstrap. Many at the top get free education. Yes. Grants to put money down. Yeah, to buy homes. Exactly. That's what I mean by class. It's too much to type. Oh, okay. Um, okay. Yeah, they do. They get all of that. Um, Clearlight says, see, that's ridiculous. $4,450 per month in food stamps. You see what I mean? You see what I mean? And that's just ridiculous. That is just ridiculous. That's just so ridiculous. Yeah, that's the reason why rent is high. All of this is all it's a cause and effect, people. Cause and effect. Republicans support businesses who use that labor. Okay, but it can't be because Donald is knocking them down left, right, and center. The Section 8 assistance was provided, but maybe historically, but it's not now. The white female explains she has 6 children and received 450. Okay, this ain't about, we're not talking about, I mean, I don't care what color she is, but you cannot tell me that these people who are using this system up like this are white females. No, no, no. Now, how many foreigners, how many other people are on here? How many people just came here with 5 and 6 kids who are getting $450,000? I bet you this white female has been in this country and her family have been in this country forever. So those are kind of their benefits. We kind of, I mean, her ancestors kind of paid for that, don't you think? Oh, okay, I did. Okay, I'm gonna go back up and get it. I bet it is relatively for a few people on Section 8 now because they done gave it all to all the people coming here. Sure, I know it's not a lot of us on Section, honey. I know it ain't a lot of us on Section 8 because I know people who've gotten kicked off of Section 8. So no, it is not us on Section 8. No, it is not us. No, we don't get them programs anymore. We don't have access to that stuff anymore. That stuff goes to the people who are coming here. Okay, I'm gonna go back up. Yeah, I missed a lot of them. Okay, uh, that's the trick to get people to focus on the poor. Um, they have to take what? Hold on. They have to take fake IDs that pass the I-9 form using existing Social Security numbers. Yeah, it's probably a whole little scam thing going on. I'm sure it is. Okay. Most companies in Florida are employment agencies are corrupt. We read that. Okay. Okay. I got that one. I got that one. I got that one. Um, okay. Um, I got that one. All right. I think George, okay. All right. Let me go see. I read that. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm looking for this comment. What's this one say? Uh, my issue is that they come here and talk down on FBAs, trying to convince us that, trying to convince us what hard workers they are, but they don't work hard in their own country to make it great. That's what Maya has to say. Yeah, yeah, right. So what do you have to say about that? What do you guys think about that? It's not only vouchers of people for people, it's also property. Yeah, I believe the property owners get the vouchers, honey. I know they get the dang on vouchers. It's all a big whole big voucher program. Okay, I'm going up to look for it now. Where was it at? I'm trying to find True Serum's comment, y'all. Um, what's this one say? By T and K. Uh, food and rent went up in every country, so I'm not sure EBT is the reason. Jamaica has zero welfare and food is high. Electricity is the highest in the world. I don't know about the other countries, but I know here, I in my opinion, I believe that has something to do with it. because it's supply and demand. And if I can sell this at a higher rate and you're going to buy it, because I remember during COVID when all them people had them food stamps, all them people had food stamps, and you would go to the store, they would have carts filled up full of food. They were all making seafood boils. You would go in there, there would be no seafood in the store. They'd be done wiped all the seafood out. And seafood is expensive. But they had food stamps. They had EBT cards. And then you notice the prices start going up. But the supply and demand chain also has something to do with that also. Remember, this the supply and demand chain got backed up. All right, so this is another video where I'm looking for truth serum's explanation, okay, of Section 8. They done changed everything on here. Hold on. Let me see if I can just do it like this. Because I don't feel like trying to figure this out. I hate when people update stuff. Because then I don't know where it is. Okay, let's see if we could just go to it like this. Okay, here it is. Okay. So this one is again about the 14th Amendment. And this one's going to give you a little more in-depth understanding of it. All right.
After the Civil War, many states passed civil rights acts that granted the rights of citizenship to blacks. But some congressmen believed that unless there was federal protection, those state laws could be easily overturned. That's why they proposed the 14th Amendment to the Constitution.
Unlike the law.
So you see, that law was passed to protect Black Americans because they felt like that the states could easily go back and take our rights away. So the federal government said we need to put something in place so the states can't just go back and change their mind.
Of Dred Scott, which says that people of African descent, whether they were slave or free, can't be citizens of the United States. Now the 14th Amendment says that everybody born or naturalized in the United States is a citizen of the United States and entitled to the equal protection.
Now you see how he left that part off? He said born and naturalized, but he didn't read the second one. You see what I'm saying? He didn't tell you the second stipulation about who are they subjected to? Who do they answer to? Who are they loyal to? You see how he just left that part out? That's why I'm telling you, pay attention.
States and entitled to the equal protection of the laws. It's entitled to the equal protection of the laws.
The amendment also barred former members of Congress who'd been loyal to the Confederacy from voting or holding public office. Most southern states opposed the amendment and refused to ratify it. So Congress made its passage a requirement for states to be readmitted to the Union. The right of citizenship came with other benefits for blacks. They could serve on juries and run for public office. They could also move freely around the country, assured that their rights.
Now see, this is how you know it was for Black people, because how did this just like this is stuff that had to do directly with the enslavement of a group of people in America, because the people, their movement's not restricted. This was clearly for people who had restricted movements.
Would be protected in every state.
The 14th Amendment establishes finally the meaning of citizenship in the United States and the consistency of citizenship in the United States, meaning that the people born in the United States would be citizens, but also that the federal government would establish national citizenship. So someone born in Georgia and someone born in New York now had the same claim to the United States, the same claim to the government of the United States.
So let me hear that part again about someone born can have the same claim to the United States.
meaning of citizenship in the United States and the consistency of citizenship in the United States, meaning that the people born in the United States would be citizens, but also that the federal government would establish national citizenship. So someone born in Georgia and someone born in New York now have the same claim to the United States, the same claim to the government of the United States.
Because you remember in the South, you were born enslaved. If you were born up north, you weren't, because there was no slavery up there. Okay. So this video was about, clearly they're showing how this amendment was all about the Black American. It was all about making sure they had the rights that they were entitled to. Okay, I'm still looking for this comment, y'all, by True Sarah about Section 8. Europe, what? Okay, we read that. Europe is facing the same problem. Retroactive. Maybe it's further down. But so it's really important that we understand that. That is super duper important. Wait a minute, is this it? True Serum? Reverse the test again. A lot of half-truths floating around regarding Obama. Okay, no, he's talking about Obama on there. Okay, True Serum, I can't find it. And it keep bringing me back down here to these. It must be a lot of comments tonight. You mean someone can live in a 6,000-pound house and not pay rent? Yes, they'll give you a Section 8 certificate for that. Mm-hmm. Yes, they will. And they'll give you some food stamps too. And they'll give you some cash money to live off of. Yeah, they sure will. They surely will, honey. I don't know if they're still doing that now. Everything here had to do with black and white back then. There's no immigrant status back then. Now they can. Exactly. So just think. This was not even about an immigrant status. This was about the Black American. So how can you take it now and apply it to an immigrant status when that's not what the amendment was even about? So that's like misusing the amendment. Now they can X us out because of many ethnicities are here to hide under. Well, that's what they're arguing about. That's what the administration is saying, that 14th Amendment was not intended for that. It was for Black Americans. It was to make sure their rights were not violated. It was to make sure that their states would not go in and change all the laws and make them back slaves again. So that's what they're saying. That's what the argument is about. That this law was for this particular group of people and for them only. That's what they're saying. Well, it's too late now. If you want to change, you should at least have to go through Congress. Well, he doesn't have to. He can do an executive order. Our government, it has it where he can do an executive order and he don't have to. And if it went through Congress, I'm sure it would pass. You don't understand. People in Congress want this. He's not the only one wanting this. How can people on Medicare work? Thank you. They can't. Some of them can. They will have health issues, plus the world is extreme. I can see how this will work. Some of them can, though. Some of them can work. But we're not talking about them, y'all. We're talking about all these other people who are taking advantage of, who people feel are taking advantage of this 14th Amendment that doesn't apply to everyone. Yes, but when you apply for citizenship, you vow to honor the U.S. But that's when you apply, right? That's not the birthright thing. The birthright sound like you just get it. Like you just get it. Trump is seeking to deport American citizens. But How do you deport an American citizen? And where are you going to send us to? And who's going to let them do that? Who's going to let them do that? And how do you do that? Who's going to let him do something as discriminatory as that? Who? Who? And for what? And deport you where? So y'all, come on, make all this make sense. This just sounds like fear mongering. Like somebody just put crazy thoughts in y'all head and y'all just believe it. They said people on Medicaid will be made to do what? The people on Medicaid, I saw that they got to work for 80 hours. It wasn't even 80 hours a week. It was like a month. They have the nerve to raise the price of 12 eggs, and the eggs are exactly the same. It's a scam. If you don't, okay. Yeah, egg prices are just ridiculous. But that's the result of all of this that's going on. So now at 60, I need to change my career. Even the wealthy are holding. Yes. What you gonna do now, TNK? What you gonna do now? Yeah. Yes, the big bill just passed. Take from the poor and give to the rich. Take what from the poor? They've been doing that. Y'all don't see that they've been doing that? Y'all don't see what's going on? They've been taking from them. They've been taking from the elderly. They took from the elderly so bad, the elderly are homeless and on the street. So this didn't just start occurring. This has been occurring. For this to be out of control like this has been occurring for a long time. Who's going to do the what? What do they do? The DoorDash? What jobs do they significantly do that we're not doing? That's what I want to know. What jobs? Tell us. We'll wait. We don't have no toilet cleaning jobs. I mean, we have jobs where you have to clean the bathroom, but it ain't like in India where you just go clean out the toilets. You clean the poop out. We don't have no jobs like that. So who's doing that? What jobs are they doing that nobody else will do? That's what I want to know. Yes. Yes. See? She said her job is cutting hours because people aren't spending money. No, they're not. They don't have money to spend. People got to pay bills. People got to eat. People got to try to survive. Meanwhile, the rich get tons of grants and tax breaks. You mean the rich business people? Or the rich personal, everyday person walking around? Because the person who getting those tax breaks, they're supposed to be providing people with jobs and some type of benefit to the people. They're not just giving them those grants and stuff for no reason. There's things you got to do. I basically gave you stats to show the number of people on Section 8 compared to rent hikes, which are really about supply and demand. Yeah, but I'm sure those Section 8 vouchers had a lot to do with that rent going up. Because who's paying that? Nobody. Those Section 8 vouchers and those grants. So it's probably not a lot of people on it, but because they kicked them all off and put this little group on it who needed all this assistance. Who needed all this assistance? So I'm sure it's not a lot of people on it now, but I'm sure the people on it get a lot of money. Oh, wow. Y'all blaming this on the 1% instead of blaming it on poor immigration policies, for real? On the fact that the immigration policies have been ignored for eons and centuries? No reform, no nothing. And now they're just completely broken. Just completely broken, hemorrhaging. For Black Righteous says, I come across 3 homeless vets in Cal. See, vets didn't used to be homeless unless they wanted to be. There was all kind of programs for the vets. Even in my city, there was a whole community where the government provided for them to live. Not now. They done cut so much for the vets, it's unbelievable. Why are they doing that? Where's that money going? Where's that money going? Vets and elderly, homeless in America. Where's their shame? Where's the shame in that? Yeah, immigration policy has to be enforced. We cannot have our veterans. We cannot have our elderly people homeless. We cannot have our children hungry and no place to live. You know how many times I run through the school year? Homeless kids, hungry kids. We can't have this. Children's services are so overrun, they don't even have places for the kids to sleep. The kids are sleeping at the offices and children's services now because they don't have funding. So the kids wait till the office closed and they just sleep wherever they can. And this is America? And we're blaming 1%? We're blaming the rich people for that? No. This is poor immigration policy that has not been enforced. This should have been fixed a long time ago. There's no way it should have been able to get out of control like this. This is out of control. And now the vulnerable people in our population, I'm getting cold, y'all. The vulnerable people in our population are being infected by this. A lot of our vets have mental illnesses. You know why? Because what they were exposed to when they were in the military. And this is how we repay them? Poor immigration policies leave them out on the street because you cannot tell me giving all those people all that money and all those places to live and all those cars, you cannot tell me that did not negatively impact the Veteran Administration, because while other people were getting stuff, other people were losing stuff. Let's go down here and see what's going on. DJT says, it's almost an invasion of the U.S. the way it came. Yes, it was unbelievable. It was so unbelievable. I remember watching it on the news when that, whatever day that was, and people, when Donald's laws were going to stop, like you could come in, and people were just coming in and coming in and coming in and coming in. And I was like, where are all these people going? And I remember, I think it was Houston or someplace in Texas, they didn't even have room for these people. It was unbelievable, y'all. It was really unbelievable, y'all. Okay, well, what's the reason? You don't think immigration has anything to do with it? You don't think poor immigration policies and poor immigration planning has anything to do with what's going on with the vets and anything to do with what's going on with the Veterans Administration? You don't think it has anything to do with the Department of Education? You don't think it has anything to do with the Department of Urban and Public, or not Urban and Public Affairs, Urban Housing? You don't think that? You don't think any of that is impacted by immigration? What's going on with immigration? The migration of America was planned by the elites. They planned for all of this. So they planned for the country. So they planned for this to happen. That's what happened. They planned for all of this to happen. They planned for the economy to do this. They plan for everything to be so high that nobody's doing, that everybody's at a standstill. They planned for this. This is so what we see. This is what y'all telling me. Y'all saying so what we see is what they want to happen. This is what y'all are saying to me. Oh, okay. Okay. I'm sure that's not the only thing that's impacting it. No, because it all works together. Government is a well-oiled machine, and it works together. It's like a wheel on a bicycle, you know. And when one of those spokes break, oh, them other spokes is gonna break. So it works together. So if one thing is impacted, other things are impacted. That's why they had to do the 14th Amendment. Because remember, they said they didn't trust the states. They didn't know what the states would do, because the states could easily go back and change. So to make that not happen, they knew what we would use the federal government to do that, because you got to follow what the federal government says, even if you are a state. Trump is cutting everything except military weapons. Well, you know, that was one thing. I'm always big on military spending. That's one thing I don't think, if I was a president, I would never cut my military budget. Never. That would always be number one, is my military budget. I would always have a strong military presence. Always. 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 I would never cut that. Never. Okay. Okay. Don't blame the elites when they colluded with them in acting or migration, wage suppression, resource strain, and more. I just, this is just, this is really just some bad decision making. Why can't they return the people within a set time frame and give them time to return themselves without the violence? Because people don't want to leave. Once they get here, they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. They don't want to go back to some place where they're not going to have an infrastructure. And they're not. And see, when they're here, they get to be big. Small boys get to be big men back home. Because they pretend like they got money. They pretend like they live in a certain way. So they get some kind of statusy thing when they go back to their countries. So they want to stay and make as much as they can, because they call it hustle. They want to hustle as much as they can so they can just build this life when they get back home. So they don't care. They don't care. Yep, they don't care. It was crazy. It was scary. Wait a minute. It was what? It was scary as all get out because of the sick Texas governor. Yet the small cities have done better at absorbing them. Oh yeah, you talking about when I said it was bad? Yes, it was bad. And why would you put that burden on your system? That's a lot, y'all. You can't overburden your system, your social networks like that, your social systems, because social systems already don't get a lot of money. And then you add more to it. Look at the food banks, how they have nothing now. They have nothing. Well, they misplanned it. They should have did a better job at planning, because planning was horrible. Yes, the immigration policy and other policies are being made. Big corporations, politicians work for their donors. Okay. All right. Let's go back down here. Entitlement of illegals, I can't stomach. These are tons of benefits. There are tons of benefits for vets. Really? Why are they homeless then? Why are people saying that the benefits are being cut? Why do I know people who work at the VA and they're talking about How the VA, the benefits of the VA or at the VA are being cut left, right, and center. They're talking about everything that's being cut at the VA. So why are people saying that it's being cut if there's plenty of benefits? Why would somebody lie like that? I agree, it's an ignored problem, but we won't be better off because there's no end game. And that's what they got to come up with, an end game. You got to come up with an end game. You got to fix this problem because it's going to just get worse. Um, Obama put the same people in cages. Now, no one says that with mass incarceration. Um, for Black cells, Joy, they are given fair warning during the campaign, and especially in November, they refuse. Yeah, they don't want to leave. They don't want to leave. They don't. They don't want to leave. All right, let's go look at this. Let me get out here. Okay, why are they losing funding? Tell us. Tell us why are they losing funding? And we're saying that it's the burden on the system that's affecting the Veterans Administration. All of this is being, you cannot tell me this is not being affected by, that all of these systems, these agencies are not being impacted by this. They are. There's only so much money. Government has to support the people. Where are they getting this money from? Who do y'all think is okay? Well, what's the problem then with the veterans? So they're just cutting it for no reason. So people just woke up and said, "I'm going to cut funding to the vets. I'm going to cut funding to WIC, to mothers, women with infants and children. I'm going to cut that funding too. And by the way, I'm going to cut Medicaid too. I'm going to cut that too. Yeah, I'm just going to cut all that because I don't like poor people." So y'all really think that's what's going on? Y'all really think that's what's going on? Knowing how the American people are, when you start messing with them groups. So y'all really think that's just all it is? They don't want to leave, but they say America's anti. Right, but won't leave, honey. Honey, you gotta put them out. You gotta put them out your house. I can't. I can't recall. Believe it or not, I don't. What? True Serum says, alas, an alarming number of people have not developed a methodology for establishing credible sources. What you talking about? True Serum, what are you talking about? Y'all know who I haven't seen? Team member. I'm gonna have to email team member and make sure he okay. Find the article and name me. Who you talking about? Oh, you talking to Cayenne Works. What'd she say? Okay, let me go up here and look and see what she said. An internet video is not credible evidence. People upload all sorts of chaotic nonsense. So what you have to do is you have to see Cayenne Works where they got that information from. Okay, so they should tell you they got it from a news article. They should say they read it or they seen it. They should tell you where they got it from so you can go back and see where they got it from. And then you'll be able to tell if it's a credible source or if it's just somebody making something up. Because some of the videos on YouTube, you can tell people just be making stuff up. Okay, so that's why you got to kind of check. That's what he's saying. So Cayenne Works says, no one told me that. I watched concerned neighbors protest too. I read an article regarding an apartment building It was up north. The article should still be available. Okay, so that's the primary source thing. And then you look and see where the article where did the article come from? You know what I mean? What source is the article? Is it something somebody just threw on there, or is it for real article? Like it's a for real credible news source. Start with ground news and go from there. Both sides are playing on emotions. Okay. What y'all talking about? There is a bigger plan. It's all about hoarding wealth. Joy, you've been saying that since you've been on here, girl. She been saying that all night. Okay, so Cayenne works says she gonna look for a true serum. Okay. Donald Trump misled the illegals. They clearly did not. How did he mislead them? They were dancing as. Why the illegals were dancing and singing? So they thought they was just gonna stay illegal and nothing was gonna happen. That's what they thought for real. What they couldn't have thought that, honey. They couldn't have never thought they was just gonna stay illegal forever. Why in the world would they think that? DJT says they don't want to leave. Okay. So did we get all those comments? Okay, y'all talking about a news report. Let me go down here and get these real quick. Oh, okay. She says she thinks it's because the population of white Americans are down now. The original subject was scam marriage and those who always been getting people deported. The original subject was a scam marriage and those have always been getting people deported or denied. I think she wanted us to talk about birthright. That's what Ola wanted us to talk about, was birthright. And I just kind of threw the fake marriage in there, but I ain't got to that part yet. So the fake marriage, I just kind of threw that in there because I wanted y'all to know the difference between a fake marriage and a real marriage. And a romance scam. Flying in, yeah, somebody said that he was flying in people from DJ T ran on closing the border and getting illegals out of the country. Okay, so now I think I got all y'all comments as much as I could about that. All right, so y'all know that y'all can see, as you can see from what we just talked about, this is a pretty controversial topic. And like I said, people feel like, and Donald Trump also feels like this 14th Amendment was for the babies of Americans who were enslaved in America, okay? Whose parents were enslaved in America. It was done, 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments were put in place for those people to make sure that they would not be discriminated against and to make sure no one would take their rights away from them again. So that's what the big argument is and continues to be about. Again, the Supreme Court is, let me see if I put a video up there. Oh, okay, hold on. Let me show y'all. Let's do this part. So this is what I showed y'all. Now, this is what the president has to say about the 14th Amendment. All right, so let's listen to this real quick.
That's a good one. Birthright.
President Trump's executive order to end birthright citizenship has kicked off an unprecedented legal battle over immigration policy.
If we lose, it means that the Constitution doesn't matter.
Most legal scholars say the meaning of the 14th Amendment is very clear, that people born in the U.S. are citizens regardless of the citizenship of their parents. But that doesn't mean the Trump...
Okay, let's go back to that. Because that's not what it said.
Born in the U.S. are citizens regardless of the citizenship of their parents.
But that's not what it said, remember? It didn't say that. So that's the whole thing. The amendment continually gets misinterpreted, and that is the problem, and that's where he's going to win. In my humble opinion, he's going to win on that because she just misinterpreted. It doesn't say that.
But that doesn't mean the Trump administration is fighting a losing battle. We'll break down the legal case surrounding birthright citizenship and the consequences of Trump's executive action. Birthright citizenship was first established in 1868 by the 14th Amendment to recognize Black Americans as citizens after the Civil War. This phrase was included in the Citizenship Clause to exclude people who were essentially immune from local law and therefore were not subject to the jurisdiction of the U.S.
Those three groups were children born to foreign diplomats who had diplomatic immunity, children born to Native Americans living on tribal lands because they were immune from state and local laws, and children born to an occupying army that had invaded the country.
This particular phrase has become the focal point of the Trump administration's legal case. Their argument is that children born to immigrants living in the U.S. illegally should also be excluded from birthright citizenship.
If you're not here permanently, if you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and don't plan to be, why would we make those people's children American citizens permanently?
That doesn't make sense, and he's got a good point. If you're not here and you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, then what country would make you a citizen? But this is what's going on because people are coming here and they are not subject to the jurisdiction of the United States, but they're having kids here and the kids are becoming U.S. citizens.
Administration that is taking a very hard line on undocumented immigrants and saying we're going to remove millions of people, to turn around and say that their children are not subject to United States jurisdiction is entirely contradictory.
New Jersey Attorney General Matt Platkin is leading one of several lawsuits filed against the Trump administration's executive order.
They're tying themselves up in knots because they know they don't have a good legal argument.
Advocates of birthright citizenship often cite an 1898 Supreme Court ruling that said a man born in the U.S. to Chinese immigrants was entitled to citizenship, despite his parents not being citizens. This decision set a precedent, but a few legal scholars argue that because Wong Kim Ark's parents were legal residents of the U.S., the decision didn't resolve whether the children of undocumented immigrants get citizenship.
The quote, illegal immigrant was a concept that didn't emerge really until the early 20th century, in part because of immigration enforcement efforts at that time. So it wasn't a term that was openly discussed in Wong Kim Ark.
In his executive order, Trump declared that children won't get citizenship at birth unless at least one of their parents is a citizen or legal permanent resident.
My policy will choke off a major incentive for continued illegal immigration, deter more migrants from coming, and encourage many of the aliens Joe Biden has unlawfully let into our country to go back to their home countries. They must go back.
He says the order is also meant to deter what Trump allies call birth tourism, which is when pregnant women enter the U.S. specifically to give birth so their children can have citizenship. If the executive order goes into effect, the federal government will stop issuing citizenship-affirming documents to children of non-citizens.
Not just the kids born to those who are here without legal authorization, but also kids born to, say, a couple living here on student visas, or a mother who's here on an H-1B visa working for a tech company.
These are not children who have ties to any other country. They're born here. So what it would do is create this permanent underclass of people who are here that aren't entitled to the same healthcare or educational rights necessarily as American-born children.
If the executive order takes effect, local governments also stand to lose funding for federal benefit programs, where eligibility is based on Social Security numbers. The president doesn't have the right to change the Constitution by executive order. To end birthright citizenship, Trump would need either an amendment to the Constitution, which would require 2/3 of both the House and Senate and 3/4 of the states to agree, or for the Supreme Court to endorse his interpretation of the 14th Amendment, which is what the administration is banking on.
Even this Supreme Court is not going to find that the 14th Amendment doesn't say what it does. They start with the text. They're an originalist court.
In Seattle, a federal judge has already issued a temporary restraining order.
Major blow to the new Trump administration. A federal judge temporarily blocks President Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship, calling it, quote, blatantly unconstitutional.
So we can expect that within the next 2 weeks, he's very likely to issue a preliminary injunction. Once there's a preliminary injunction, the federal government can ask the higher federal courts to block the lower federal court's order.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
If they lose before the intermediate appellate courts, then they could seek emergency relief from the Supreme Court itself. That's something the Trump administration did a lot the first time around. I expect we're going to see the same approach this time.
We are prepared to fight this all the way to the Supreme Court if we have to, because President Trump believes that this is a necessary step to secure our nation's borders and protect our homeland.
If the Supreme Court blocked...
I think the Supreme Court did agree with him already. And another court, and that's when that federal judge came in and blocked it. But I think if I'm correct, if I'm wrong, y'all correct me. But I believe the Supreme Court had already agreed with him.
Blocks the preliminary injunction, the executive order would be allowed to move forward while it's being litigated.
There were a number of Trump administration policies.
So do y'all understand that? Wow. So that means if he gets that injunction blocked, he's going to move forward with whatever he's deciding the executive order is going to be about birthright citizenship, and while it's being litigated. So that means he's going to be enforcing this law while it's being litigated, which is wild because
adopted during President Trump's first term.
It'd be crazy.
That by the time we got to the end of President Trump's first term, they were still being litigated, although they were being enforced. That's a possibility here that doesn't even require the Trump administration to win before the Supreme Court.
Most legal experts say the executive order is unlikely to take effect because it violates both the Constitution and laws passed by Congress.
And so you can imagine another pathway by which the administration might try to change citizenship law. It might think that this executive order is the first stepping stone towards persuading Republicans in Congress to get on board with a bill.
With the Birthright Citizenship Act of 2025, we can solidify these reforms into lasting law.
This case is a big deal. It's a big deal legally with respect to birthright citizenship, but it's a bigger deal with respect to whether Americans' belief in the rule of law will be upheld.
See, now that's what I'm telling you. They didn't even read the 14th Amendment correctly. They didn't even read the two qualifications for that. And that's what the Supreme Court is going to do. You have to have two things. And that's what the Supreme Court is going to do. And the Supreme Court is going to say, what is the spirit? They're going to look at the letter of the law and they look at the spirit of the law, like I told you earlier. All right. And they're going to look at the letter of the law and say, it says this, but what does the spirit of the law say? What did they intend? All right, so let's look and see, as a matter of fact, what the Supreme Court said. And then we're going to be done. I'm not going to do fake marriage tonight because we've been on here for 2 hours. And this is information. So it becomes...
A federal judge issuing it.
It becomes information overload. All right, so let's read this. Let's listen to this one real quick about this federal judge. This one lone federal judge who blocked him. And you know Donald's going to come fire him.
New nationwide order blocking President Trump's attempt to end birthright citizenship. Of course, it comes just days after the Supreme Court cleared the way, then a class action lawsuit, and what they're now arguing. Here's Rachel Scott.
Just 2 weeks after the Supreme Court gave President Trump the green light to move forward with his ban on birthright citizenship.
So right there, the Supreme Court of this country gave him the go-ahead, said you could do it. Okay? Because that right there lets me know that the Supreme Court feels like this law has not been interpreted right. Okay? Because the part about the jurisdiction, who do you serve? Who is your loyalty? That's the part they don't ever talk about. That's the part they've been leaving out for years. They've been skipping over. And then, like I said, the Supreme Court will go to the spirit of the law. What was this law intended for? What was the intent of the people who founded this law? And that Senator Turnbull was saying the whole time, way back then, this law is for the enslaved Black Americans' kids. It's for their kids. It's not for the Chinese people. It's not for these other people. And all these other people are going to try to take advantage of it because we are not being clear here. Yep. And that's what happened. And that's what you see is going on right now. So this is our last video for
A federal judge blocking the policy yet again. The High Court determined federal judges could not issue sweeping nationwide injunctions against many of Trump's policies. But the plaintiffs in today's case worked around that ruling by filing a class action lawsuit on behalf of all children born in the United States after February 20th.
People telling us that they're considering changing where they're going to deliver their babies, moving away from their doctors, their communities, worrying about their families being torn apart.
The president has said he's prepared to enforce the ban.
Hundreds of thousands of people are pouring into our country under birthright citizenship, and it wasn't meant for that reason.
But the administration has still offered no details on how they would put the ban into effect.
Tonight, the White House is vowing to fight this ruling, and the plaintiffs in this case hoping that it makes its way back to the Supreme Court so the justices can decide once and for all whether a ban on birthright citizenship is constitutional, David.
All right, Rachel Scott at the White House again tonight. Thank you, Rachel.
All right. So that's it. That's the battle. That is the battle. Thus, this 14th Amendment was the spirit of the law intended just for the Black Americans? Was the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment, was it really just for them, to give them citizenship, to give them voting rights, to allow them to be equal citizens? And now it's being misapplied to everybody? That's the question. That's the debate. But as you can see, even by the way they talk about it, y'all, they don't even talk about it right. They don't even talk about it right. So that's how you know they're not interpreting it right. Because they would know the people who come in here for tourism, you from another country. Of course you're not loyal to the United States. The people coming here who's for school, you're here for school. Why would your child, like J.D. Vance said, why would we let that child be a U.S. citizen when you're just here for school? Your loyalty is to your country. And that's the part that they keep ignoring, that second part of the clause. That's where I think the trouble is going to be. Hi, Joan. Thank you for joining the channel. Well, y'all don't forget, we do the drawing for the prize. Remember, when you join the channel, you get a chance to win a dress like this one I got on. So you get a chance to win a dress. So please make sure you join the channel. Okay. Make sure you join, and then you can have exclusive membership, like how I did that live earlier for the members only, which only if you're not a member, you can't see it. I didn't even know that. So that's a neat feature. Okay. So please make sure you join, because we'll be doing lives like that for just the members only once we get, more people. But thank you, Joan, for joining. And I'll be making the selection later on this week on who's going to win. No other country, allows you to just waltz across the borders, and no, they don't. They don't. I don't know why we're doing that. I really don't. Biden did a whole number on this country and ran it straight in the ground, but no one has smoke for him because he left the borders wide open. I don't trust no one who agrees with our immigration policies. No, our immigration policies are bad. They need to be overhauled. Second Amendment and First Amendment have been misinterpreted too. Suddenly, everything is big contested. This is bad for business all over. Yep. Say it again. So look, that is, wait a minute. We do the work, and they get the benefits. And that's sad. That's sad. Clear Light says, Kiki, thank you for tonight. Prayers and positive energy for everybody. Yes. And we got to pray for our country. When I was little, we used to do that. We used to pray for our country. We used to pray for our leaders. I remember that. And we need to pray for our leaders. And we need to pray for our country. We need to pray what's going on here. Because this is not good, people. This is not good. This is not the America that I know. This is not the America that I grew up in. Okay? So we need to pray. But things go back to what they are, what they're supposed to be, what we know it to be. Because this is not what we know it to be. All these high prices, you can't do nothing, you can't go nowhere. You know, everything is all expensive. No, this is not America. You know, it's not supposed to be like that. Wait. 95-year-old displaced. Who was that? Frank who? What about him for Black? Hold on, y'all. Tell me what you want me to say about him. What's his name? Hold on, y'all. Frank. Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me for Black want me to play this for y'all real quick. Okay, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna play this one and then we're gonna go. Okay, y'all. Okay, let me see which one we're gonna watch real quick. The 95-year-old vet gets the boot. Frank is a 95-year-old youth who fought. Okay, let's see what he's saying. Here he is, y'all.
It was very disgraceful what they did to the people in Island Shores. They gave us time to get out, but they never said when. And they never said they were going to get us out. And then one day, there's a thing on the board, a notice on the board. You got to be out by March 15th. I think that gave us like a month and a half to find out where we're going to go. I thought my suitcases were going to be on the curb because I'm not that fast. If it wasn't for my daughter, they would have been on the curb. But that's what it happened. And that was it. I said, no, you're not moving me. And they said, yes, we are. And everything was done behind closed doors. Yeah. We didn't have a chance to actually make any attempt to stop them because there wasn't enough time.
So it looks like Frank is a 95-year-old veteran who was kicked out of. Okay, this one is 28 minutes. I don't want to see the 28-minute one. Let's look at this one. Tells the story of being removed from a. Okay, look at this one, y'all.
To meet all these people as interested as I am in what's going on. Now, the thing I'm annoyed about is how they did it. It was very disgraceful.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to find one y'all can hear. So this vet was kicked out of a nursing home. And it evicted him to let the migrant people come there? What? This is from Fox News, okay? And this happened on the 23rd. So I remember when they was welcoming everybody like this on the buses, bringing the buses in the middle of the night. You wake up and your city was just on.
It isn't fair. These people, they're coming in and they're getting the cream of the crop. I don't think it's fair at all.
Here in New York, the migrant crisis.
100,000 migrants.
People seeking asylum are crammed together.
Controversial migrant shelter in Brooklyn.
New York.
Seen a rise in overdose deaths in New York City.
After a string of robberies and assaults, the attackers under arrest.
Crime in the city.
Have arrived in New York City.
Oh, Grandpa. Okay, that's him.
I'm Frank Tamaro, and I'm 74 years old.
Now he's 94.
94.
Look how good this man
I'm
looks.
satisfied where I am now. I was satisfied where I was until they threw me out. It was scary. I didn't know where I was going.
Look at this.
I'm Barbara Nunziata. I'm the daughter of Frank Tamaro, which was thrown out of Island Shores due to migrants. Island Shores is an independent living facility for seniors. He moved in. He was living there for 5 years, and they evicted him.
Wow.
So I had to find him a place to live, which I did, and he hated it there. He winded up falling, and he didn't want to go back there. So am I going to say, no? Of course, come back and live with me. So my kids gave up their room, and they come and they visit me every once in a while. They come on the couch, which, believe me, they do not care. They'll do it for their grandfather. But it's just the point. Like, are you kidding me? You know, I can't leave them home alone. I raised my kids already. They're all grown-ups. I mean, he's a piece of cake. You don't, you know, but still, he's still 94 years old.
Wow. That's so sad. So he got a notice that they had to get out a week prior to leaving.
They didn't give too much notice. And we knew that something was going to go there. Homeless. Something was going to go in there.
They said that they had to restructure the place. They never said they were getting migrants because we asked them.
It was very disgraceful what they did to the people in Island Shores. I said, no, you're not moving me. And they said, yes, we are. And everything was done behind closed doors.
It's no joke getting thrown out of a house. I felt horrible. First of all, I have nothing against the migrants. If they would have came in like my grandparents did, like everybody else did. They came in from Ellis Island, they were examined and everything else. Then they were allowed to come into the States. And as soon as they came in, they had to have a job. Here, they're coming in and they get wads of money.
Yeah.
They get as much as they get.
It angers me. These migrants, they're getting everything. They're getting everything. And I can't get nothing for him.
Wow.
I blame the politicians. Somebody's filling their pockets. There's got to be something going underneath the table. They don't just take immigrants in like that and place them and get rid of people in a place where they were living, just like that. I say the mayor did a horrible job on it. He should have never accepted them, the amount of people coming in. He knew we couldn't handle that. Where were you going to put all these people?
I was telling you about the infrastructure. When you bring people in like that, it puts a burden on your infrastructure. And that's what happened. The New York City could not handle this. They could not handle this influx of extra people. And this is what's going on. Look at this. That's unbelievable. That's almost 500,000 people. Look, almost half of that number ended
I
up
felt
in New
bitter
York.
at the beginning, but now being with my daughter and everything else, it sort of went on the back burners. But I do get upset when I see them handing out all this money and all these things, and I'm paying taxes.
I don't understand it at all. It's not fair to anybody. They're going to be living the good life before Americans do.
Wow, now that was sad. That was sad. That was sad. Now, you still think this immigration stuff is not impacting the vets? It's not impacting the people? Yeah, it's impacting us. It's impacting the people. All right, we're going to get these comments and then we're going to get up off here, yeah? No one should have a problem with illegal immigration. It's illegal immigration that's the problem. Exactly. DJT says, TNK says, they don't allow assisted living place to be sold until they placed everyone. And he said they didn't even do that to him. They didn't even tell them to the week before. Can you believe that? A week before. Because they got whoever owns the nursing home, they were going to get more money for those migrants. So they had to get those people out and then bring the new people in so they could get more money. No one should have a problem. Okay. Oh, you read that. Yeah, that's what that was about. It's all about the money because Texas and Florida shipped them there. Yeah. And I couldn't believe it. And we were getting them overnight. Like you'd wake up, like one time I woke up, I went to Walmart. I could have swore I was in a different country. It was just everywhere. Carloads, truckloads, van loads, 10, 20 people in a car, 10, 20 people in a van. I said, oh, no, I'll be ordering online from now on. It was just too much. It was overwhelming. It was just truly overwhelming. Okay, y'all, we are going to get off of here. I think a lot of inner city blacks are happy for these deportations because it negatively impacts them. So we're going to get off of here, and I keep forgetting I'm not back at work. So we can go back, we can do some more lives like during the week. So I think we're going to come back on here. What's today? Saturday. We'll probably be back. I got something to do Monday. Let's come back Tuesday. Let's do an afternoon show on Tuesday afternoon. Let's do noon. I always wanted to do a noon afternoon show. I hope I'll be up because y'all know this jet lag still got me. So let's do a noon show. Okay. And the next show we're going to do is going to be an update on the scammers. I got to get back to the scammers. So I'm going to give you an update on Daniel, the Lion King. I'm going to give you an update on T3 and Me. I'm going to try to give you an update on Mark Meets Africa, but Mark Meets Africa is laying low. Nobody's heard anything. So I'll update you on him. I'll update you on we'll talk about Kenza, update on her. Who else? We're just going to talk about all our favorite scammers, okay, on Tuesday. What are they doing? And let's get updated on what they're actually doing now, okay? So that's what we're going to do Tuesday at noon. And then we'll go back to, I'll do telling some more people's stories, their interactions with these scammers and what they want you guys to know. So we'll go back to doing that. Let me see what else. And we'll just keep going with that. We'll just keep going with what we've been going with. All right, then we'll do an immigration video maybe once a month. Okay, so we'll do this once a month. Tell me if y'all liked it. If y'all don't like it, then we won't do immigration. But if y'all like it, then once a month we'll do an immigration show. All right. Now we see how members only work. When it's members only, Only the members could see it. I didn't know that. I was just testing it. All right, so that was a lot. All right, y'all. That's all for tonight. I thought I seen something about Fox News. Wait. Fox News, of course, sad story. This is about greedy landlords selling it, yeah, and converting the building. He's right. It was a greedy landlord. And a lot of them are greedy. And they don't care about the people. They sure don't. Yeah, that was a greedy landlord. Okay, y'all. We will be getting back on the scammers, like I said, Tuesday. We're going to do a show about them. We're going to do an update on what I know. The white faces you see at Walmart have grandparents who were immigrants too. But did they meet the qualifications? Because if they didn't meet the qualifications, then they can go too. So I don't think it can. I think it's more about the qualifications too, because those qualifications were strict. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm about to start yawning. Oh, thank you for Black for telling us about him. That was really sad. So when y'all think about immigration, y'all please think about Mr. What was his name? Mr. Frank? Yeah, please think about Mr. Frank. Mr. Frank is 95 years old. 95 years old. And he said he was embarrassed and ashamed that he had to go back and live with his daughter. And 95 years old, because people are just out to make money off of this immigration system. Because that's all it's this immigration crisis. That's all, like he said, somebody's making money off of this. And that's what it's all about. All right, y'all, we will be back on here next week. No, Tuesday. Tomorrow, Sunday. Yeah, I got something to do. Monday, Sunday, I need to get ready. So Tuesday at noon, we'll be back talking about our scammer friends. All right, y'all. That's all I got. Thank y'all for staying with me. And I will talk to y'all later. Have a good